Welcome to Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
In this episode, declaring your actions each round. Welcome to Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
I do declare that I'm going to do a specific action in this round.
Well, that you would be, you're very beneficial to the group because not everyone does that. And so one of the reasons Delaney and I wanted to do an episode about this is because sometimes you're with players who don't declare their actions beforehand, and it can really mess up everybody else's action.
Yeah.
It can really affect gameplay. And so I'm sure people who played RPGs before, and you're talking about gameplay actions and mechanics, you're facing a group of baddies, and everybody's got their own advantages. They've got their arrows ready, they got their spear ready, they got their axe, they've got a spell, and one person who doesn't say what they're going to do beforehand basically spoils it by charging into the group and scattering them as they run away. And you're like, well, great, there went my area effect spell.
Yeah, now I got to go through my spell book again.
Oh, great, but now we got to hunt down. I got to hunt these people down individually because I was going to cast black tentacles, and now they're scattered to the four winds, and they're going to snipe at us for the rest of the game.
So how does that look? You, brave adventurers, have entered the dungeon of Magazine. Before you are 12 orcs. One looks like a cleric, one looks like a wizard. The rest look like warriors. Reginald, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to cast Bless upon our party.
And Frederica, what are you going to do? Well, I think I'm going to fire arrows at the toughest looking one. And Morgoth, what are you going to do?
Wait a minute now. Let's see here. Did you say how many orcs were there?
12.
Okay, and we're inside or outside?
You're inside. You're in the dungeon of Magazine.
Is it day or night?
It's dark down here.
Let me look for that one spell. Time passes, time passes, time passes. Okay, I want to cast Alternative Life Force. Can I do that? It's not in our rule book.
Roll for initiative. We'll find out.
I roll a 4.
Okay. So, declaring your actions before you roll the initiative kind of gives the DM an idea of what the party's going to do. He may, or they may have an idea of the dungeon master or the creatures, what they want to do, what they're planning on doing, based upon what the party does. Or maybe the orcs are all going to charge in, and the cleric's going to cast the bless spell on the orcs, and the wizard's going to cast a fireball down at the end of the hallway where the players have just entered.
Yeah.
Well, okay, by declaring your actions before the round, it holds the players to what they were going to do.
I think the whole point of this is essentially to create a smooth game flow, right?
Yes.
It's the way to basically work combat out so that you eliminate some of the chaos factors that can creep in when you're doing combat. And to be honest, RPG combat can be very complex. I mean, that's one of the things that people complain about Pathfinders, that it's too complex when it comes to combat.
Yeah.
So it's essential, in my opinion, that as you work with a team, that you have people who work from their strengths towards, the common goal. Who's going to do what? Well, you have the elven archer typically throws arrows, okay? You have the cleric who's going to basically throw out a bless, boost, and buff. You've got a fighter who's going to get ready with their sword, and they need to be buffed. You've got a wizard who's going to throw out maybe an area effect spell. You've got a witch who's going to debuff. You know your places and your roles and what you're going to do. You know, most people, when they declare their actions beforehand, they're pretty much going to do what you think is going to happen. And is that a real benefit for a DM then, that you know how to orchestrate the combat?
Yeah, so in that instance, you've got the spellcasters. So if the spellcasters are going to start casting their spell, then their spell may get disrupted.
Yeah.
Because now they're getting attacked.
Okay.
So now they lose that spell.
Right. Okay. I was just thinking that maybe one of the drawbacks of this is that it takes away from the spontaneity of the game.
It could take away the spontaneity of the game.
Yeah. So how could that could work to where, where everybody's individual actions don't seem spontaneous, but they seem very regimented, and they seem as if we're just following a script.
It does, but it also makes it easier for the DM to plan, and even for the party to plan. The party should work together as a team.
Oh, absolutely.
And by declaring their actions, they should declare their actions in general as a team working together, because if the guy's going to cast a fireball, if your thief says, well, I'm going to go sneak in the shadows on the other side of the room, and your wizard says, well, I was casting a fireball, well, now said thief may get stuck in the fireball spell.
Right. Okay. So that's a scenario that's happened quite a bit in our games we've had. We've had thieves who are tumbling through the dragon's lair to get to the other side, and all of a sudden the wizard in the back's like, well, cool, I was going to throw black tentacles up. Now you're stuck in them. Can you evade them at all? Yeah, I've got evasion. Okay, well, you're going to need it because I'm going to hold these orcs here. Okay, that kind of thing. When everybody says, okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to snipe. I'm going to go up on the ledge and snipe. I'm going to fly. Well, okay, so if you're flying, that means I can't throw out a ray of frost because it'll get you in it. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It really does benefit the party to have a teamwork group that works together like that, right, to where you're not working at cross purposes. And we've had that problem before, a lot of times, where people just throw stuff out all the way, and you're like, oh, great, thanks for rolling in through the doorway there, thief. I was going to make wall of stone. So essentially, you're going to get walled up in a wall of stone with the orcs.
You're going to get stuck in the room all by yourself.
Now, we've had that where we've had characters die because they couldn't escape the flames of a burning tavern in time.
Right.
Or they couldn't get...
Or they went charging into the middle of a room.
Right.
And get cut off.
And they get cut off and they drag their body away. So, yeah, that can happen.
By declaring your intentions beforehand, then you can say, well, wait, I was going to do this, and the other person say, okay, I'm not going to do that then.
I'd like to hear from other DMs and players on this. I think this would be an interesting idea. Like, how do you feel about that? Does that ruin the spontaneity of the game, or do you think it creates more of a teamwork aspect?
Yeah, in first edition, when I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, that's how you did it. You went around the table declaring your actions, and then you rolled your initiative. And based upon where you fell in your initiative, where you went and did it.
When did they get rid of that?
It just kind of fell to the wayside, and other DMs, some DMs still do that.
Okay, no, I think that's probably the case. I think we've had DMs before who've said, okay, what's everybody going to do? Because what you guys do depends on what this dragon does.
Yeah.
Okay, now that makes sense. I was just wondering if somehow that was a traditional gameplay mechanic from like first and second edition, but third or 3.5 got rid of it for some reason. I don't know.
Or it just kind of fell to the wayside of how that DM was doing it, and it just kind of faded away.
Right.
But there are still DMs that do that.
Yeah.
That form. Okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. No. That in a sense, I don't know if that ruins spontaneity or not. I don't think it does. I think it really can really help with teamwork, and it can really help with game flow.
Yeah.
No one likes to be, spell blocked or something like that, because wizards like to throw spells.
Yeah, and then when you do that, if you always start with the same person, then this person's always last. Well, I would say as a DM or GM to change it. You go here, and then next time you go here, and you go here, and you start here and steer. So every person has their turn at declaring their action first.
So I think it's really cool is if everybody rolls a d6, and whoever rolls 6 goes first. Whoever rolls 1 goes first, or lowest to highest.
So with Pathfinder, the way our initiative works is everybody's initiative is different, and that's where you act.
Yeah.
So if everyone declared your action before you went on your initiative, would declare when that fireball spell goes off. Do you beat everybody else?
Well, there's also things where there's improved initiative, where people have improved initiative, where they always go first.
Not necessarily. It all depends upon what they roll as their dex, because improved initiative gives you your +4 to your initiative die roll based upon then you've got your dex and then what you roll. Okay. So even if you have a +4 improved initiative and you roll a 1 and you have an 18 dex, therefore you still only have a 9 on your initiative out of a d20.
I misspoke. I shouldn't have said that they always go first. They always have advantages.
They have an advantage, a possibility
of going first, depending on the dice roll. So improved initiative.
Right.
So I think it's good if you have a variety of initiative patterns where different people go first each time, so that everyone has a chance to work out their actions beforehand in that sense.
And there were times in the game where you rolled initiative every round, so that determined who was going first and last, so it could change up.
When did we do that?
We never did do that.
Oh, okay, because that sounds kind of alien.
That's an
Not
old
that
system.
It sounds bad, but it sounds a little alien to what we were trying to do.
There was a system that Professor Dungeon Master had that we were going to throw out.
Okay.
The problem is with Pathfinder, it takes away the improved initiative feat that somebody might take.
Yeah.
Because it was, I don't know the whole context of it, but it was rolling the dice, and it would change every time, and based upon certain things would change where you went in the initiative.
Okay. Improved initiative is one of those feats that a lot of people don't think about taking, but the people who take it seem to have a certain kind of advantages with that, because they may be able to go first a lot.
See, where in Pirate Borg, you take the board games, you roll your d6, and 1 to 3 means the enemy goes first. 4, 5, and 6 means the players go first. And the exception of that is in ship combat, where you roll initiative every round.
Okay, now the thing I know about Pirate Borg, because we play it there, is you roll, like, if the players go first, you just basically go clockwise.
Yeah.
So
but I also change.
You do. And that's good that you do that, so that it's not the same person going every time.
Same person going first every time.
Yeah. I like it personally when we play and people declare their actions first. A lot of times I play like a cleric, and I want to be able to boost or buff people.
Yeah, and they all go running away. It's like, oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah, and one of the big problems we have is when we do a bless and they run out of the bless zone. And you're like, well, you're not getting blessed, Mr. Thief. You just ran out of the bless zone. Well, I didn't know you were going to bless. It's like, you didn't ask,
And that's where the declaring the action can help.
Yeah.
Help prevent that.
Or
maybe the thief will say, well, I'm holding my action in until after you do it.
Yeah, until
and
you
then
get
I'm charging in.
Exactly. I guess we'd like to kind of hear from people on this to see what they think. In gameplay, especially role players in gameplay, if you think that can be a detriment, if you think it could be too standardized, if you think it can really limit what's going on and ruin the spontaneity of a game, or
what system do you use?
Yeah, what system do you use for initiative and that, or declaring your actions?
Yeah, this way other people can get an idea. If you have an idea, maybe they'll say, "Hey, that's a cool idea. I like that."
Yeah.
That's part of what Wizards of the Tower role-playing is really about, is we throw out an idea and it allows you as the community a collaborative way of discussing, and maybe other people will read it and say, oh, that's a cool idea. I like that. What you came up with is an idea, but what John is posting about is how they do it, and I like that idea. I can incorporate that into my game.
Well, yeah, and Delaney and I discuss a lot of this that we hear on other people's podcasts. We discuss a lot about what they talk about. They talk about actions or spells or how their gameplay mechanics. We talk a lot about it and whether or not we want to try to incorporate that into our game.
Yeah.
It can be very beneficial. That's how we build our community, in my opinion.
Absolutely. We learn as we game and as we dungeon master, and taking ideas off of other people is really a way of of growing. You know, it's like a musician. Musicians, there's no more really. They say there's no more original music out there because everybody's using the same thing. It's just how they play it, whether it's faster or slower, or maybe a little bit different progression. But it's really all the same. You know, we all take influences from other people.
Yeah.
And that works in role-playing games as well.
Yeah, I mean, people say there's only really 3 chords that people play, and they just, it's all variations of that. And or like, when they talk about scripts and movies and novels, it's like there's only 3 basic stories, and everything is just basic variations off that. So, anyway, we'd like to hear from you regarding this.
So anyway, we're going to end this episode of Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, spread the word, ring the bell, because that lets you have notifications. Follow us on Discord. There's no charge. You just come, join us, have discussions. It's kind of another free-form spot for you to talk about things, possibly even roleplay. And anyway, may all your adventures be epic.
And keep on rolling.
Thanks, folks. Oh, Belvedere, I do declare. 3, 2. Welcome to Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
And I do declare that we are going to do something a little bit differently in this one.
About declaring your actions before each round. And what players do, and if they don't. Shit.
If they don't?
Yeah.
Where do you want to start from?
Right from the top.